Good morning. All right, little recap of yesterday and a tip for trading today. Never knowing what the market's going to give you. Yesterday, first day back for me after a week of being gone and a 3-day weekend. So I really wanted to have some nice clean trades, some base hits. I used a 50K take profit account, still an eval, only third day trading it. I try to get those 50K accounts above 300 when I'm trading them, whether it's eval or in funded. And realistically, if I treat eval like I do funded, then I'm less likely to feel under pressure when I'm funded. So, I used to push evals a lot harder. I try to shoot and cover an eval and let's say days to a week. And then when I got funded, I'd be like, well, I better take my time so I don't lose the account. And for me, changing strategies just to rush to the eval, I felt like it wasn't setting me up for success in the funded accounts. Now, I've lost a ton of funded accounts, so it's not like I've kept every funded account. But my rule is just trade the same way every day. And ideally, you don't feel that pressure when you're closing in on passing the eval, that last day when you only have $200 left before you have to pass and get to funded. And when you get funded on day one, you kind of, I used to feel nervous because it's like, well, now it feels like it's real money, and it just trade the same every day. And it was just easier for me. So here we are, yesterday recap, day 3, and just something I realized I was doing, that I was doing more organically than planning out. And this just sort of comes with being in front of the terminal for a long time. So we're looking here at the NASDAQ on the 5-minute. You can see where the 3 yellow arrows are, or where I took trades. And if you've been watching my videos, I really preach being more conservative about waiting for your entry. And essentially the lines and blocks you're looking at, those are areas of interest for me. And those are areas where I'd like to see a rejection, a support, a breakthrough, and retest. One of those 3, and I'd like to see them nice and clean. Yesterday, I didn't see it. I only had about an hour or so to trade, and I just really wasn't seeing it. So I had 2 options. I could walk away and again have another non-trading day after not trading for a week, or I could just reduce my size and even look at a slightly different time frame to see if I can find something that would work for me. Now, I added in a few other cues yesterday that I don't normally always do. I always have the ES up because I like to know what the ES is doing. I want the ES to be in line with the NQ, but I don't normally have any other stocks up. Yesterday, I happened to put up NVIDIA, which is good to watch just because of how heavy weighted it is against both the NASDAQ and the ES. So that thing moves, or if it stalls, essentially that will help drive the market due to its size. So what we're looking at here is sort of an unclean stage of entries. You look at the arrows and you say, well, there's nothing there. I don't have any lines there. I don't have boxes. The last trade is in a box without a clean breakout. It kind of consolidated. Second trade was really all I had was a 15-minute breakout, which I don't really try to preach to breakouts, but I'll show you why I took that trade. And this one was actually a loser and probably the best entry of the entire day because I got ticked out and I moved my stop a little bit too quickly. Lesson learned on that. So the thing that made me a little bit nervous my first hour of trading yesterday was noticing that here, you see where we open up on this yellow line with the NASDAQ. We're just below the Monday low, and essentially we start to climb above it right away. Well, look at the MES or the ES, and we open much further down, and the best we did yesterday was touch the Monday low. So the ES and the NQ were not in line. And if I looked at NVIDIA, you look here, when it opened in the morning, it wasn't breaking down. It was below its EMAs. It was below the VWAP in the morning. It was just being held in the support, which is a good support, right? Support back on the 22nd. And if you keep going to the left, you will find at some point, let's speed that up there, if I can get over here to May 12th and then consolidation around here in May as well. So it's been holding this line at 215 really steadily. I knew I wasn't going to look for shorts, just how bullish the market has looked. And with NVIDIA holding this line here, I really wasn't too concerned. There was a little bit of nervousness with the ES being much lower than the NQ, and I do remember this breakdown at 10 o'clock, but I was like, well, let's be patient. I don't really want to look for shorts just yet, even though it felt like they were coming at some point in the day, which they did later on. At 10:45, the market did sell off. So let's look at how I found my trades. I dropped down, I kept the 5 minute up. I do enter on the 1 minute, but I actually began using the 1 minute a little bit more. Now, when I start using the 1 minute, like I do the 5, I'm not looking for massive moves. I'm looking for scalps. So I'm looking for 10, 15 points and just base hits. So remember that small wins will equal big gains. I know it sucks if you're thinking, hey, I want to make $1,000 a day, but just try to remember that in real terms of real employment income. I mean, if someone handed you $200 for 10 minutes of looking at a screen and sipping your coffee, would you reject it and say, no, that's not good enough? Probably not. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You're probably going to take that. So we look down here. Now, I had said yesterday, I really wanted to see the NQ retest the high of day because it had already done it in the overnight session, but I wanted to see it in the market open. As you see, we weren't even close. However, what the ES had already tested by the 5 minute mark, it had already tested high of day and began pushing. So watching the ES and watching that NVIDIA was holding its position and not going down gave me confidence to actually go in on the 5 minute break on the inside range of it right here. So, kind of have a nice pullback, and the break, by that, I mean these two candles. Now, here's where I messed up. I took this break here, right around 8:57, and it wasn't clean, right? It was jostly here this was a long 1 minute candle for me. I thought maybe I'm wrong. Maybe with the ES as low as it is, maybe with NVIDIA sitting at its base, maybe this thing's determined to go lower, and I prematurely got in. So what did I do yesterday? When I reduced size. So I was only trading 3 micros the whole day yesterday, just 3 trades, 3 micros, and that was it. When I went in, it started to push up. Like I almost got wicked out. I looked for momentum, so I didn't sit here at the bottom of the candle. When I went in at 56 or so, I think I only gave myself about 20 points. I was right here around 40, so 25. And it kept pushing this candle open right here at 47. When it started to push up and it broke this candle here at 64, I was like, okay, I want momentum. So I'm going to put my stop here at 49, which is the bottom of the candle. And what happened? Well, it closed. This one came down, ticked me out. And then look what happens. And it shoots up. Isn't that the most frustrating thing? I had only originally targeted going to 80. Because at the time, that was really that was the bottom of this EMA. And for the ES or the MES, it was getting closer over to its EMAs, trying to work its way back to VWAP. So I wasn't trying to be greedy. I was just like, hey, 3 contracts, I'll shoot for like 20, 25 points, and that'll be great. Well, instead I got knocked out for about 10 points. And so my first trade, I'm down in the red. So I had to be patient. I'm still waiting for something. On the 5 minute that you can see, there was really no great setup. So we break back over the open. We break back through Monday low, but as you can see here, ES still well below it, still within range. NVIDIA just kind of getting real consolidated. It's trying to push, but it's not really going very far. So again, I'm not super confident that I'm going to get these massive, big 40, 50 point runs. I'm not confident I'm going to get clean pullbacks. So I have to look for areas of interest more on the price action side than sort of my boxes and range breakouts and all that. Speaking of range breakouts, look where we're at here. So this ended up being the 15-minute range, where this blue line is at 938. On the open, we saw sellers reject 940 here. And then the very first rejection within the 15-minute range is almost in the exact same spot. So I knew there were sellers here. And watching the ES continuously push up, so here at 945, we're pushing up into the VWAP. My thought process is, hey, if we can take out these sellers, we might get a really nice pop and we might move up into the 80s. That's what I'd really like to see. So I believe I took my trade at 9:45. So in the 1 minute candle, I let it dip down a little bit, I think, and then I took it 9:45. Almost instantly I took it to see if we could break through these sellers right here. And once I took that trade, this one yielded me, it looks like, just over $100 for 3 contracts. I think at one point, after having a $60 loss or so, I was like, hey, again, let's get back to break even plus a little bit of income, and I can then look for one more clean trade, as I usually don't like breakouts. I think breakouts often get retested very quickly, or I just never know when they're going to come back, and I hold them too long, and then I end up going for break even. So I do like retests. I get another 110 here. I get out of the trade. Now I got to wait again. So now we're coming up for the last trade of the day. It's 10 o'clock. I'm getting ready to close the terminals for the day. If we look over here, now we really see the ES starting to break out. At 10 o'clock, we're trying to get out of the range. And here, this is the 30-minute range. So I'm really liking the 30-minute opening range. It's feeling bullish. NVIDIA, let's look at them at 10 o'clock. So at 9:45, 9:50, there we go. That's what I was looking for. We did come back down. We held, and I remember this candle here around 10:10 pushing, and I started feeling good. I was like, okay, I'm seeing this action happen, and I do like this action on the 1 minute. I believe it happened, I want to say, a little bit sooner. If I can quickly get back to that, trying to make this video a little bit short. I still have to set up my charts for the day. 10:07. So it's holding, right? We had this push here. We're holding above this line, which I like. I'm really looking for this push here, which happened at 10:10. On the NQ, I think it's at 10:07, almost 10:08. I take the trade, and again, why? Well, so we have my area of interest here, resistance. We break through that resistance. It's kind of a weak pullback. We have a strength within the EMAs. At the time, ES was pushing. NVIDIA is trying to push. And so once again, what I'm looking for is basically this little flag here. I'm kind of ignoring a little bit of my area of interest here. And I want to say, okay, we broke this line. We're finding support near it. Great strength on the EMAs. We're trying to push up. If I can just get this push, we should be good. Now, I wanted to see a good push. I wanted to see a strong, big engulfing candle like this guy. I wasn't really getting it. Again, these 1 minute candles, on the 5, it starts to look really a lot better, but when you're in the 1 minute trading, it's looking iffy. So I get in at 10:07, and I end up getting about 184 on this trade. I think I traded once. I think I added in on this break here, so it popped up, came back down, held. I wanted to see it break this candle one more time, so I took one more add here for a new trade, then moved my original 3 to essentially break even. That way I mainly stay within a 3 contract risk while having 6 contracts on the board. Now, I'm seeing a lot of struggle here. I'm seeing a long wick, short wick, long wick, short wick, slightly longer wick against even a shorter wick, and then sort of a doji. So at this point, I'm feeling like it's really struggling. I'm thinking I don't have the cleanest setup. I'm scalping anyways. I'm up $180, almost $200. Let's go ahead and clear it out, as we're just not beating this larger engulfing candle. We're just matching it, which means sellers to me still had more strength. And buyers, though they were pushing, weren't pushing hard enough for me to want to stay in and have to risk a pullback, which did happen right after I got out. I think I was only in for about 2 or 3 minutes. I got out somewhere within this candle here, and then we had a pullback. And of course, what happens, right? Then the big push happens. So it happens a million times to me. I get in, I get out, and the push I'm really looking for happens right after I get out. And what do? I don't get back in. Now, there was actually a pretty clean trade I didn't take. I closed my terminals right after, I think, 10 o'clock. If I go up, there's Monday low. We're going to go to the right. The one trade, had I stayed in, I think the one trade that really would have worked in the 5 minute and would have represented my areas of interest, plus an overnight high, is we push up with strength above the overnight high. We take that out, area of interest, gray box. We have a pullback candle, right? right to the previous pullback candle, kind of just close that gap a little bit there. Another green candle would close above. I think a great trade would have been right here. Right? You take the breakout of this green candle, more conservatively of that red, but you would have to reduce size because you really have to hold down 985, 321. That's a lot. If you take this break here at 314, realistically, you can kind of say, okay, well, I'll go down to 990. It's the bottom. It's below the overnight high. If it's back down here, it's probably not got enough momentum. You get knocked out for 25 points. Not terrible. And what happens? You get that break, it retests the top of this candle, and then off to the races you go. And realistically, again, it's just what I said yesterday. You're now in all-time highs. The initial balance high had not been set yet, right? This is the close for yesterday, so this wasn't here. And then you just start trailing 20 points. And just as I said, you might even get to 100 if you trail 20 points. Well, you got to 100. It actually went all the way up to 117 before the sell-off in the afternoon. So I scalped, not bad, right? A little less than $300 for the day. One loser, two winners. You can see here, could I have traded better? Sure. Could I have maybe been more patient with, staying in the trade? Absolutely. But especially first day back, I want to get some base hits. I want to get my confidence going. I want to make sure my process is pretty strong. And my process is usually based on the 5. So I scalped the ones for, what was that? 232, right? 150K account, 232, not bad. So that's where I'm at today. Remember, stick to your process, be patient, right? Look for your levels. If you're not seeing confluence on multiple levels, just be patient. I looked at NVIDIA, I looked at ES, I was looking at Bookmap, just to make sure that I was in this volatile morning where it was a little tough to tell if it was going to try to pull back on me. I was trying to find the best entries possible and was still able to walk away with a couple $100 within really 937 to 1007. 30 minutes, over $200, and I'm walking away for the day. Now, that's eval, but think about it in cash account. Think about that as a copy trade account. You can really take this a long ways with just some simple, patient trading, even on a small size. All right? So if you like this, comment. If you like my channel, subscribe. I'm still building the channel, and I would love to hear your thoughts about my trading, or if you have questions about the way I trade, please let me know, and I'll be happy to make a video entirely on that. Other than that, we're going to set up for today. I wish you the best, and again, I'm going to try to get to recapping and live trading real soon here, same day. I just got to work around my other work schedule, my actual job. So best of luck to you, and I'll see you soon.